Our Champions League semi-final still hangs in the balance, despite us losing 1-0 to Paris Saint-Germain in the first leg. Ousmane Dembélé's superb fourth-minute strike gives the French side a slender lead when we cross the channel for the return game in 8 days' time. But we had our moments and thought we had equalized early in the second half, but Mikel Merino saw a header ruled out for offside by VAR. PSG may have beaten us for the first time ever, but with memories of heroic European victories this season fresh in our memory, everything is still to play for as we attempt to reach our second ever Champions League final next month. Early setback, hosting its first Men's Champions League semi-final for 16 years. Emirates Stadium was whipped into a frenzy before kickoff with tifos, rousing renditions of popular chants and fireworks galore. But just 4 minutes after kickoff, that was tempered somewhat when the visitors found the net. After a sustained period of PSG possession, Dembélé picked the ball up in space and easily crossed halfway before passing to Kvaratskhelia Kvaratskhelia, and the diminutive winger scuttled into our box. He then chopped the ball back to PSG's top marksman, who whipped an excellent first-time shot into the bottom corner of David Raya's net to register his 11th goal in this season's competition. That setback rocked us, and the French champions would boss proceedings early on. After 20 minutes, we had just 24% of possession as Luis Enrique's team strung sharp, accurate passes around the pitch. But only a tame Marquinhos header would force Raya into more work. It was a similar story for Jakub Kiwior, who nodded our first effort comfortably at Gianluigi Donnarumma. But Raya was by far the busiest keeper in the opening half, and on the half hour he had to get down smartly to prevent Desiredu's near-post shot, putting the Parisian 2-0 ahead. Plenty of positivity. But the final 15 minutes of the half saw us get a foothold back into the game and begin to show what we were about. Only a last-gasp tackle from João Neves nicked the ball off the toes from Mikel Merino when Kiwior squared into his path right in front of goal. And then Bukayo Saka couldn't quite trouble Donnarumma when he produced a trademark cut inside and shot. But right on the stroke of halftime, we had a huge opportunity to get level before the break when Miles Lewis-Skelly slipped a pass into Gabriel Martinelli, who beat the offside trap to go through on goal with Donnarumma to beat. The ball around the giant Italian stopper couldn't quite beat the host keeper, who made a good save, as PSG scrambled the ball away and into the away dressing room with something to think about. After the break, the positivity continued, and we thought we'd got level within 90 seconds of the restart when Declan Rice whipped a devilish free kick into a packed box, and Merino headed it past Donnarumma. But after a lengthy VAR check, the goal was ruled out for a tight offside decision. The momentum felt like it was shifting in our direction, but we couldn't quite find a way around the imposing Donnarumma, who 10 minutes into the second half had to use every inch of his 6 feet 5 inches frame to tip a Leandro Trossard shot around his post when the Belgian was sent herring towards the goal. Late offs, but chances became harder to come by as the visitors dug in and thwarted our attacking enterprise, and on the counter would create plenty of dangerous moments as they looked to put themselves in a commanding position heading to the Parc des Princes. Neves had the next best chance on 77 minutes when Enrique's team won the ball high up the park, but the Portuguese midfielder blasted over when well placed, and then with 7 minutes to go, we had 2 huge let-offs. Substitutes Bradley Barcola and Goncalo Ramos linked up to send the former in on goal, but he missed a glorious chance when he slid his shot past Raya's far upright. And then 60 seconds later, Ramos latched onto a long pass and had time to pick his spot but crashed a shot off the crossbar. We conjured up one final chance in 5 minutes of stoppage time, but Martinelli curled over the top as our 11-game undefeated European run in N5 came to an end. However, we head to the French capital next week just 1 goal behind and still dreaming of making it to Munich at the end of May. What's next? We host Bournemouth in Premier League action on Saturday, before the second leg in Paris on Wednesday, May 7th. Following that, we head to the newly crowned Premier League champions Liverpool on Sunday. Arsenal player ratings versus PSG as Trossard and Martinelli missed chances. Partey absence felt. It was sadly not the night that it had been billed to be. All the hype and anticipation got sucked out of the Emirates Stadium with the early goal. That said, it was important for the Gunners to stay in the tie, and they are, but the job in Paris will be incredibly difficult. It was the worst start possible for Arsenal, who had conceded inside just 5 minutes. Ousmane Dembélé found the right side of the post after Kvaratskhelia had darted in from the left-hand side. Gabriel Martinelli had 2 chances in the first half, the second being a must-score moment that his curling strike could only find the parrying gloves of Gianluigi Donnarumma. Arsenal thought they had scored right at the beginning of the second half, but Mikel Merino was offside as he headed in. David Raya, despite being beaten early, David Raya prevented a PSG second on the 31st minute, managing to stop a deflected effort from beating him with amazing reflexes. 7 Jurrien Timber, Kvaratskhelia gave Jurrien Timber a torrid time, and to the irritation of the crowd, with several fouls given against him that many felt were not exactly fair. He was excellent in the game, and the technical skill on show was so good, but he left the field without making the vital difference. 7 William Saliba. Another loose moment in possession nearly cost the Gunners early on, but thankfully his teammates bailed him out this time. In the second half, though, a goal-saving challenge, lunging in and finding the ball at the last, brilliant. Jakub Kiwior had a headed chance early on which tamely fell into the hands of Donnarumma. His distribution was sadly not on point when it needed to be for the Gunners. 6 Miles Lewis-Skelly. Amazing strength shown and composure as he beat players who have been playing at this level for several years. The run and pass for Gabriel Martinelli before halftime was simply gorgeous. 7 Declan Rice. Not in his usual number 8 role, when on the ball, you could see him looking around for midfield teammates to pass to and having to wait. Certainly irritating for him. Despite playing deeper, Rice was still so determined to drive the ball forward and often found teammates in attacking positions. 7 Mikel Merino. He thought he had brought Arsenal level, a header from Declan Rice's free kick, but he was offside as the ball came in. Merino was metronomic in the middle, his turns away from danger, finding teammates in space, but the next phase of play simply wasn't clicking. 7 Martin Odegaard was stifled a lot in the first half, with the midfield pressure squeezing the Arsenal captain out of the game, besides a couple of touches which were more hopeful than premeditated. After some promising signs, sadly he couldn't follow it up with a big performance. Bukayo Saka. It was frustrating to watch in the first half, and there were even moments when teammates were calling on Bukayo Saka to press higher and offer more. Finally had a sight of the goal after 38 minutes, but it could only find the gloves of Donnarumma. He had a better second half and was on the ball a lot more. Still, he found his pathways extremely difficult to goal. 6 Gabriel Martinelli had Arsenal's best first opportunity, stretching to meet the cross of Saka from the left, but couldn't quite reach it. Then the second set through on a one-on-one. Donnarumma again equal to the chance from the left, finessed into his gloves. Leandro Trossard, first chance fell to him on the back heel, closing in on halftime, but couldn't get the right connection. A huge chance befell the Belgian early in the second. Donnarumma tipping his shot round the post. 6 Emirates.